So I came across this TikTok video and it's of this girl. She's an employee of a company and she says, literally, I sat under my desk and cried. Worker says employees are required to come into the office twice a week for company culture. She says that she's the only one there. Now, this one actually hits home. I actually work for a company that allowed us to work from home for like the last 2 years, and there's been a lot of pushback coming from employees, including myself, for coming back into the office. Granted, it's not coming into the office every day. That's one good thing. However, there's a number of problems here. The pandemic forced many employers to, depending upon the type of business that they're running, to have employees work remotely, to work to be able to execute social distancing and to keep everyone safe. The problem, though, is it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing. The problem is that it exposed a lot of people to this freedom, this life outside of the traditional corporate culture. And it allowed people to experience time with their families. They could work technically anywhere. And so it's kind of like, all right, now it's time to get back in your cage. And a lot of people are not okay with this. People, including myself, we got to experience time with our families. I can't imagine how many parents have children and they didn't realize how much of their children's lives that they've missed out on while being at work. And they're doing work that could literally be done from home. Corporations that have admitted to having their employees working at home for for the past 1 to 2 years are hitting record profits. So the question is, why are these employees or why are these employers really trying to get employees back into the office? Many people think that employers just want that control. Employers want this control to be able to tell their employees, you will report to my office on 5 days a week. You will report to this building and you will sit here for 8 hours, 9 hours, whatever the case may be, even though you could do this from home. And some employers will argue that, that here's the thing. These employers, they have this office space. Now, I don't know if some of these employers are trying to justify the fact that they have these long-term leases with these buildings and they want butts in seats so that they can justify this expense. But for a lot of employees, they're not happy with it. For a very, very small percentage of employees, they're actually looking forward to going back to work. Maybe they don't like their spouse. Who knows? Comment down below if you guys have experienced anything like this. But, and here's the thing. I actually saw a video from Economic Ninja a couple days ago. He actually talked about this one. And I really liked his feedback on this one. But here's the thing. A lot of employees that have had the opportunity to work from home for like the last 2 years, they have literally experienced this freedom. And many of them have actually created side hustles in their free time. They've been able to boost their income. They've created online businesses. They've been able to travel and work from, pretty much wherever they wanted to. So if they decided to travel and, work beachside or poolside, that was entirely up to them. And for me, I realized that, wow, I didn't get a chance to see my kid for like the last 14 years because I've been constantly in the office. Think about it. If you drive to work, the average person who's driving to work right now, there was a study that came out about this. The average person commutes anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour one way to work. You want to talk about a huge waste of time. You want to talk about a huge waste of money. You're depreciating your vehicle. Your expenses for maintaining your vehicle are higher because you're driving your car more. You're more than likely going to be spending most, if not all of your waking hours around people you probably normally wouldn't have hung out with if you could have chosen between them and your family. Not to say that you don't like your coworkers, but it's kind of like, man, it would have been nice to spend more time with my family. And this was one of those opportunities that allowed me to realize, if this pandemic never happened, when would I have had the opportunity to stop and say, man, this family time is really lacking here. It got to a point where, because my wife and I were working opposite schedules, that the only time, because my off days were her work days and her off days were my work days. So the only time that she and I could actually spend time together was when we would both go on vacation. So we would take vacation and then we're together during that period of time, and maybe holidays. And it was ridiculous. We lived in the same house forever, and the only time that we could actually spend time together was like after 9 p.m. when we're both home, or whatever time we get home. And it was just literally ridiculous. Weekends we wouldn't see each other because she'd be working. Weekdays, during her week, her days off, I'm at work. So it was awful. If I look back at most of the pictures where, uh, if we look like on Facebook and stuff like that, if we look at most of the pictures, it's like, wow, I'm not in most of them, because during the time when things were going on, uh, gatherings or hanging out, uh, I'm not there. And so, I think millions of employees have realized that, okay, something's got to change here. Something's got to change. Now, obviously, this also affected the housing market, because as people were spending more time at home, people wanted a nicer place to stay, maybe a little bit more space. So people were able to live where they want to live versus living where it is convenient to get to work. And so anyway, but I understand the flip side to it, because as a business owner, I'm a business owner myself. I'm both an employee, I'm an employer and an employee. So I'm in this dual role here. And so I can understand the benefit of having an employee or having your employees in the office, because, when people get together, they tend to be more effective in collaborations and such. However, it's kind of like, okay, you have to, employees are getting to the point where they're like, hey, I understand what you're saying, but these companies are breaking records in terms of corporate profits, corporate revenues, balance sheets are very, very strong in spite of the last 2 years working remotely. So it's kind of like, is this a greed thing? If employers can get employees into the office, they can squeeze an extra 10% of juice out of them. But at what expense? What is the cost of that, right? To have your employees resent you, to have the employee resent the employer. Now, obviously, the employer can let the employee go. The employee can also let the employer go and, start their own business, run their own operation. They can also work for another company that is more lenient and flexible with their remote work privileges and their remote work policies. Some employees are like, hey, you know what? If this employer wants me to come back 5 days a week, screw it, I'm out. I will work for one of these other companies that's willing to do at least a hybrid where you come in 1 day per week, maybe 2 days per week at the max. So, it's going to be really interesting how this shift between this balance of power between the corporations and the employees ends up unfolding. I thought it was kind of funny because I started getting these messages saying that, oh, more and more people are saying that they wanted to come in the office, and you can come in the office, but we're not requiring you to come in the office yet. Man, I went to the office one day to pick up something because I needed something for my desk. And I drive, and I'm like, there's no one in the parking lot. I'm like, who are you people fooling? No one wants to come in the office. So it's like they're almost like trying to like socially guilt you into wanting to come into the office, or maybe even socially using social tactics to make you think that everyone else wants to come into the office, so maybe you should too. Bull. Anyway, you guys let me know what you guys think. Drop me some comments down below. Check out Economic Ninja's review of this particular TikTok video that I'm talking about. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Be safe.